Hey guys, just a little forward before I launch into the guide itself. This guide is pretty detailed. I do talk quite a bit and I do cover all of the add-ons that I use. So if you guys are experienced with add-ons and you guys know what you're doing and you're just kind of looking for help with one particular add-on, I've included links here around the edges of the page where you can just fast forward to that add-on. Those links are also going to be in the video comments section, so check that out. Otherwise, here is the add-on guide. Thanks for watching. Alright everyone, good to be back. It's been a long time. What I said to do here to start with, because a lot of you had questions about the add-ons I use. I'm just going to throw together a little video about what add-ons I use and how I put them together using the options. Some of this can get a little bit more complicated, especially if you've never worked with add-ons before. So first things first, once you get to your character screen, if you've properly installed your add-ons, which is instructions to do that are relatively simple, you can find those online. You should have a tab there that says add-ons. All of your add-ons that you have active should be listed. As you can see, some of them have basically sub add-ons or different themes. Always check this just to be on the safe side. I believe Omen is out of date at the moment, so we like to load out of date add-ons. We need them all. Obviously tabs down here. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and log in and see what it is. I am working with a fresh install of WoW because I uninstalled after Throne of Thunder. And so I'm going to go ahead and log in. Alright, first things first, I'm going to disable my sound effects so that you guys can hear me clearly. That was a lot of comments you guys mentioned. Hey, speak up, don't talk like a bitch. So I'm going to try to do that. Hopefully you guys can hear me nice and clear now, and we can get through this. So as you see, this looks kind of like your basic WoW UI. This right here are shadowed unit frames. They are currently in an unlocked sort of example preview setting. This obviously down here is your default WoW action bars. All my keybinds are still set. They're just not in Bartender yet, and I'll show you how to do that here shortly. Again, sidebars here, objective windows, all that good shit. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with, I believe, Bartender. So let me go ahead and pause here. Alright, so I just want to show this real quick. I've unlocked all the frames in Shadow Unit Frames. That means you can drag all this shit around. Player, party, all this stuff. You got boss windows, everything. This right here, this is Recount. Recount is a damage meter that I found useful. A lot of people use it just to bitch at other players. I use it to kind of evaluate how I'm doing, how other people are doing. Excuse me, I had to sneeze there. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak the Shadow Unit Frames here a little bit. But before that, I'm going to ahead of myself here. I want to get rid of this default WoW action bar. So I want to use Bartender to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and go through those steps. Alright, so to start with Bartender here, it is this button right here in the top right corner. Looks like a mug of ale. That is very clever. And all you do is you go ahead and you left click that. What you'll see is when you left click it, all these areas that turn green are now enabled. This is all Bartender stuff. What you will find is very interesting is that Bartender actually makes Blizzard art, which is this bottom menu. Ooh, so you can put these griffins wherever the fuck you please. What I'm going to do is now right click to bring up this menu. Blizzard art bar. These are all the available bars. Big thing to notice here, there's an enabled key. I'm going to disable the Blizzard art bar. So now those are all gone. Yay, I have my bars. I'm going to stack these two. Those are my two main action bars. Then I have a third one as well. So if you've seen my videos before, you'll see that that stack looks very familiar. The micro menu is going to be down here in the bottom right. The bags are going to be down here in the bottom right as well. Pet bars, stance bars usually between my two targets. Pet bars usually either below my main set or off here down below the chat. Extra action bar, this is important. In Mr. Pandaria, lots of times you'll have shit pop up in here. So don't forget about it. I'm going to keep this nice and centralized for now. I'm also going to resize my chat, which you guys can't see because I've hidden it cleverly, so that I have some space for recount. And as well as Omen. Omen's going to be on my right side here. It's a threat meter that's pretty important, especially for pools. Not so much in later fights nowadays, but for pools definitely. So since I am talking about Omen, I'm going to go ahead and type in /Omen space show. And that brings up this little thing right in the middle. That is Omen threat meter. I'm going to resize that a bit, put it down here in this area. That's where it's about where it's going to be. I hate this parchment shit, so we're going to open config. We're going to change it into, excuse me, we'll do this black one. Marble, why not marble? Borders don't really matter to me either. Okay, whatever, good enough for now. I can tweak all that a little bit later. You guys don't need to see that shit. So those are the two that are going to be up there. I'll show you tidy plates at the end once the UI looks a little bit better. So I'm going to walk through Bartender next. I'm just going to double check what my UI used to look like. It's been a couple of months, so hopefully you guys are able to tell, and this is looking good. Alright, let's get started here. So to align all this nicely, I'm going to start with my extra action bar. That's going to be my centerpiece of the bottom. Everything else, we're going right here, and we're just going to center that right about there. We're going to center all of that off of that extra action bar. Now that that's good, this micro menu, I don't like the way that looks, so what we're going to do here is we're going to look at the main bartender area. We're going to go to the micro menu. Here's all the stuff, rows. We're going to change it to that works. And slide in there like a little puzzle. Bag bar can go next to it. These bars can get slotted on top of that. Gives me lots of space up here for quest objective. I may push that out a little bit more. I can also move this out. I can display boss health bars kind of like they are here. They'll probably end up right around there. Now Omen will slot right here. We can make it a little bit bigger. And recount will mirror that on the other side. That's a little too big. Alright. So again, these are just kind of framing add-ons that I use. I can make my chat bigger again. And as far as Bartender goes, the last thing that'll be moving is the stats bar, and that'll be when I actually have my shattered unit frames. I'll have my player one here, and my target here, and then the target of target will be right here. That's important for tanking. Target of target, super important, so don't forget about that one. Vehicle bar, whatever, put that shit right there. Pet bar, it's right here under my chat. You guys can't see it, just trust me, it's down there. And as far as Bartender goes, that's really it. It's very intuitive. Right here, bars, you know, you enable which ones you want. If there's one that's not enabled, you can enable it again, put anything you want in there. A lot of people do that for professions, things like that. You know, do what you want. It's a UI customization add-on. It's what it's for. I like to keep this cluttered mess here because it makes sense to me. It's just how I've been playing. That's Bartender. Next up, we're going to do shadow unit frames, and this one's kind of a pain in the ass, so bear with me. Alright, when I went over this here initially, went over Bartender, I forgot to mention one super cool and super important part about Bartender, and that is this button here. It's called key bindings. And what you can do here is you can now go over a button, and when you see that green, that means that Bartender knows something is bound to it. So for example, if I want to go right here, let's bind this to number pad 3, and that is now set to number pad 3. And it is that simple. When you're done, boom, you just hit OK. And you are all good and done. So now I have to hope that number pad 3 wasn't set to anything important. I don't think it was. Okay, but that's one part about Bartender. Obviously, just moving bars around on Bartender, you can click and drag them. They just slot into these slots like they would anywhere else. So if I want to move Bell Shot over here, easy peasy. Okay, just wanted to fill that in on Bartender. I forgot about that when I was talking about it. It's actually a super cool feature, so didn't want to leave that out. Thanks, guys. Alright, shadow unit frames. First thing to know, /SUF, shadowed unit frames, abbreviation, enter, brings up the menu. This is where you'll do the majority of the work. Like I said, a little bit complicated here, a little bit complicated. So what I'm gonna do actually is I'm just gonna lock the frames real quick, just to see where everything is. So right now, that's where my player is. That's where my target is. Nope, that's where my target is. That is target of target, and that's target of target of target. So we're gonna go ahead and nope. Yes, there we go. Now reset it. As you can see, this is pretty awesome. There it is. I don't know why there it is. Okay. Okay. Much better. Target. See, it says it on there. Oh, dying. I'm dying. Alright. It says it on there. Player. Target. I'm stupid. You got all this bullshit. It doesn't need to be enabled. So, enabled units. Target. Target of target. Nope. Focuses we'll keep for later. Those will go down here. Just in case you guys want to have fun with focuses. That I remember that's empty. There's no bartender bars in there. Remember that action item is right there. So here we go. Target, player. And we're gonna scale these, and then the party's gonna stay up here in the top left. Pet's gonna get disabled. Fuck that shit. Actually, I don't know. I might keep it up right here for a little bit because you do control pets in some of the fights nowadays. Who knows? I have no idea what the new raids are going to be like. Looking forward to doing that for you guys. So, party, player, target, bosses, focuses down here, and target of target will be down. No, it's right up here right now. It'll be down here. Okay, so all that's left to do with that really is just to do some scaling, and then limit all these freaking debuffs and buffs that are currently under the target. So I'm gonna go ahead and mess with this, and I'll fast forward for you guys, and I'll try to stay quiet so that there's no random noises in the background of the fast forward. Just realized it's probably helpful to talk about this. So unit configuration, this actually lets you configure each one of the individual units. I don't know how much of this detail sheet you guys need, but fuck it, I'm just gonna go through it anyway. Better safe than sorry. So for each one of these units, there's multiple tabs up here. This is where it gets real deep and real kind of confusing. So for each one, you have different frames. You have different auras, indicators, so on and so forth, okay? Text, sizing, everything. General, I don't like portraits, so I'm going to turn them off. There's no need for them. Just takes up space when it could be a visual indicator. Another thing, let's see. Combat text, I don't need that. That basically flashes text on your on that bar. I don't really think that there's a need for it. Combo points, combat text will be off. I don't need that. Again, so basically, I like to go by unit to unit, and just click through all of these tabs up here, and make sure that I have all that I want. So portrait doesn't matter, position, that's all portrait shit. Combat fader doesn't matter. This will actually this will fade it when you're not in combat. That's kind of neat. You can enable border highlights, so on and so forth. So frames, ooh, this is where you mess with the scale. Now scaling will just make it bigger, and that looks stupid. So you want to keep it at 100, and you want to give it some width, give it some girth and some height here, and just max that shit out. Maybe you don't need to max the height out, but let's put it at a nice ratio here. Okay, and now you scale it. Now we scale it a little bit. So something like that. This is all going to be rough, and then I'm just going to, I can edit the shit out of it more and more and more and more. So that's that for now. Alright, so one thing to note, right here I finished my player and my target sizing. So what you should see, these are pretty symmetric now. One thing to note, these values right here in shadowed UF, they're actually manually enterable. So you can put your values in there. So what I did is I made my player bar and then just matched those values to the target bar. Okay, and again, this is in the frame tab. Now, everything in here, this is going to be a bunch of stuff that if you have a slower computer, you're going to want to take a lot of this off. If you see power bar for a target, that's a mana bar. It's important on some bosses. Alternate power bar, not really important. Health bar, you want your health bar. So this, I'm just going through everything for the target. I don't need incoming heals on a target. So last thing is last, we are going to do the bosses. All that my bosses need is a health bar, a power bar. They don't need buffs or debuffs for now. So you know what, there it is. For now, that I am satisfied with the way that looks. So that right there is that. I'm gonna actually quickly mess with focus target and the actual focus. Let me move this around a little bit. And then I'll bring up tidy plates and deadly boss mods. I know this is taking a while. It's just me yakking, so sorry. But there you go. Shadow Meter Frames is done. So I have all of that. If I was in a party, it'd pop up here, or if there's multiple raid bosses, it'd pop up there. Alright guys, here is Deadly Boss Mods. This one is really simple. All you do is hit /DBM. You boot it up, you go into options here, you hit bar style, and right here you can hit move me. So this is the temporary ones, and then these are the majors that will be popping up over your character. So I like to keep that one right under his feet so that I notice it, and then these will stack up vertically below this one. So I like to give it some room to expand. Sometimes there's a whole ton of them. And then there's a way to also do a test bar, but once you hit this, just be aware it's going to start like a minute-long little thing here. That's going to go through all of the effects that DBM does. So the first one, we'll just show you how this goes. Obviously, that's just a little regular warning. And this next one, yeah, I mean this is simple shit. So you guys got this. DBM is real simple, real useful. All right, guys. Final thing I want to show you here is an add-on called Tiny Plates. I actually just figured out I'm missing 2 add-ons. One is Bagnon, which will turn all of my bags into one neat little bag compartment that's easily manageable. And the other one is Mix Scrolling Battle Text, which I'll actually, I'll do a little bit of an add-on thing for it here in a second. But first things first, Tidy Plates. So Tidy Plates, you can just go to Interface, Add-ons, and Tidy Plates. Okay? Primary spec theme, secondary spec theme. If you're a tank, I would highly recommend this one. I believe is my favorite. It's either this one or Graphite Tank. Nope. Well, let's go through all of them. That's Graphite. That's Gray. Neon. And this is Quattro. Alright, I am a fan of this one. So these are just some additional options here. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go into these, you're going to go into the tanks, and there are some modes and colors as well as a few other options that you can change. So I'm just going to mess with those, get the ones that I want right, and then see what's going on. Alright guys, so I have messed with Tidy Plates quite a bit. So, whoops. Alright, so like I said, we set this to Quattro Tank. That's the primary spec theme. Now we're going, there's all this stuff down here. So what did I change? I changed the headline mode to go by reaction. I changed the health bar mode, the color to be by threat, there to be no warning glow. And the name text color to be default. That just means it always stays white. Opacity, that just means that if you have a target selected, that one's going to be popping out at you a little bit more than non-targets, and I'll show that here. Filter, all that shit, that's really secondary. What I really want to highlight here is this threat section. Alright, threat mode tank, that is going to basically flip what you would be doing in a DPS healer situation. So for a tank, a safe means that the mob is hitting you. That is what it means for a tank. Alright, whereas for a DPS or a healer, safe would mean that the mob does not have aggro on you. So make sure you switch this to tank, otherwise your colors won't make sense. Now this used to be blue, kind of like this right here. Alright, I changed that to green. That's just a personal preference. Warning means that it is broken off of me. Transition means it's coming onto me. Safe. Safe means that it is okay and it is hitting me. So let's see what that looks like here. right here, if I hit this raid boss training dummy, if I move in, everything here is green. I mean, these guys don't really have aggro, but this guy's now attacking me. And here, when I get some Sunder, some deep wounds up on it, that'll show up the debuffs up there. You can get a thunderclap, demo shot, all this shit. So all that gets on there. I'll start stacking up. This looks real good when you get in there and and you're putting everything up. So you know, that's just basic stuff. But that's what that looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and load up some mixed scrolling battle text, and that'll be the last one we go over here. Thanks, guys. All right, as you can see, I have now loaded up Bagnon. This is this mod right here. Shows your inventory in one nice big hunk there. So that is Bagnon, nice and simple. And mixed scrolling battle text is what you're gonna see right here, popping out all over the place. So I'm gonna edit this down so that it's just showing what I want it to. All right. So I have mix all said and done, so it is /MSBT to bring it up. When you bring this up for the first time, these will all be checked. Now that depends entirely on your preference. Incoming, notification, static, I have disabled all of those. And what you're going to do then is you're going to hit configure scroll areas. I have moved the other 3 down here. Now make sure that when you're configuring it, you select the one that you're configuring. So right now outgoing is configured there. Animations, they differ. Straight up is what I use. There's parabola. There's some angles and stuff. So all of these, obviously, again, I'm choosing straight. And everything in there, you can edit. And then in here, you can just set whatever you'd like to actually see. I turned off incoming because when you're getting healed as a tank, there's quite a bit of all of that. So that's about it, guys. Honestly, that covers all my add-ons. Thank you for watching. The first LFR raid guide. Oh, and here's what it looks like. The first LFR raid guide for the Siege of Orgrimmar will be out in about a week's time. Hoping to get the LFR done this week. Get the strats and the edits in this weekend, and have that to you guys by next week. So hopefully you guys enjoy that. Hopefully this helped you guys out if you've been looking into getting into some add-ons. And hopefully, I know I probably trailed off with my voice there a little bit, so I'll try to keep the music pretty low edit. You guys can hear me okay. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. This is Paul. I'm out of here.